beach you can live or die. Week number 1 in Boca Raton, Florida. The Kings of the Beach, Karch Kiraly and Kent Steffes, were on life support, but did survive. Chance to go to 14 here. Big play. Steffes, Karch. Not yet. Whitmarsh reached it. Whitmarsh. Karch with a dig back. Steffes. Score! The next weekend in Fort Myers, Florida, more of the same. Homeboys, big Mike Whitmarsh and his buddy, Mike Dodd, played Dr. Kevorkian and put the Kings into a coma. Karch. Oh, right to him. Dodd can put it away and win the championship. And he does! Then it was on to Miami Beach, Florida, where the hot team of Brian Lewis and Ricky Luyties tried to diss the Kings. However, it didn't work and ended suddenly with Louis getting stuffed in the closet. Will we have sudden death today? Let's hope so. From the NFL's newest city, Jacksonville, Florida, where the expansion Jaguars will bite in 1995. Today, the pros are already here in another sport, Pro Beach Volleyball, as Prime Network presents the Miller Lite Open at Jacksonville. Hello again, everybody, and welcome once again. I'm Chris Marlowe. You know, over the years, we have played some pretty rare conditions on the AVP Tour. Late 70s, we had snow in Lake Tahoe, California. Mid-80s, rain and flooding in Galveston, Texas. And then in 1990, Paul Sunderland and I were attacked by a swarm of bugs. Why do I tell you all this? Information, knowledge, and to lead you to what happened yesterday. Paul Sunderland filed this report.
All right, Chris, everybody knows who watches our coverage of Pro Beach Volleyball. We talk about good side, bad side. Well, this morning, the first day of competition here in Jacksonville, we were talking about bad beach. The weather here, a tremendous problem. 30, 35 mile an hour winds coming in off the Atlantic, and that led to some huge problems for the AVP production staff.
The courts were underwater. We decided that the courts were unplayable,
you got a radio on.
and we made a decision to tear down the courts, and we've called it a 3-court single elimination.
With already 3 of the 6 available courts here at Jacksonville Beach already completely washed out, the AVP players and tournament director Jim Mingus were faced with some very difficult decisions in order to keep the competition going to the next day.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to all come back at 7 a.m. I need everybody here at 7 a.m. We're going to make a decision as to what we're going to do. We're definitely going to be going 1 to 15, single elimination, but I don't know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to see you in the morning. So everybody here at 7 a.m.
Well, you got to do what you got to do. That was yesterday. The boys took a day off. Some of them went to the movies, some went bowling, and some of them wouldn't tell us where they went. But this morning, our crack production crew up at dawn to capture this beautiful sunrise. For our day of competition today, of course, I was still getting my beauty sleep.
Chris Marlowe back with a beautiful live face in Paul Sunderland. Can you concise how this will affect the tournament? No play yesterday.
Well, no play yesterday, so you've got to condense 2 days of competition into 1. If you stay in the winner's bracket, play 5 matches in total. Of course, we're playing single elimination today, so you got to condense that into 1 day of competition. The players, the number 1 seeds, Karch Kiraly, they played their first match just a little bit after sunrise this morning. Makes for a very long day. If you're in great shape, you have an advantage today.
All right, 2 teams in our semifinal, both in great shape. Karch Kiraly, Kent Steffes, Ricky Luyties, and Brian Lewis. Back in Jacksonville, Florida, first serve, Karch Kiraly, and he may get a point out of it. Here comes Kiraly, and he puts it away. So 1-0, our semifinal. Karch Kiraly, Kent Steffes, Ricky Luyties right there, and his partner, Brian Lewis. I'm Chris Marlowe. My partner is Paul Sunderland. What do Luyties and Louis have to do? Louis.
The L guys.
The L guys, okay.
Well, we talked about that. Brian Lewis got to really make hay jump serving, but really they have to side out for a long period of time. Ricky Luyties and Brian Lewis both hit the ball extremely well. They set each other well, but they cannot give up consecutive points like this, and here they give up a couple back-to-back to the best team on the beach.
So 2-0 now as Brian Lewis tries to settle his team down. Winner of the semifinal goes on to play in our final. It is single elimination, and here's Karch with the pink hat. Good serve. Here comes Lewis. And he hits it off Steffes out of bounds.
Little fake block there. Kent Steffes right on the spot. Lewis and Ludy's got to get into the good side-out rhythm, and then they'll be fine.
From the left side, good for the side out. Brian back to serve.
Chris Marlowe, Paul Sunderland, Brian Lewis to serve. His team trailing by 2. Kent Steffes and Karch Karai. Nobody! Attacking. They scored a couple of quick points. We had a slight microphone problem, but now we're back on it. 2-0 semifinal action. Both teams undefeated. Both teams rested.
Karai and Steffes have certainly put in an awfully long day. They started first thing in the morning.
This is Lewis, and Steffes is there. And he puts it away.
Karai and Steffes playing with an awful lot of confidence. Played Timmons and Al Jantz earlier in the tournament in the quarterfinals, and just steadied out at the beginning of that match. It was maybe 3-4 minutes off the game clock, and the score was only 3-1, and then Karai and Steffes just started to pour on the points, and they've been doing it ever since. And Lewis and Luyties are going to take a quick 20 here to try to slow things down. Karai and Steffes picking up right where they left off last weekend.
3-0. Karai and Steffes lead here in our semifinal. Total prize money in Jacksonville, $100,000. First place, 20. Second, 11 for 930, 7130, and 5700. Here's Kent Steffes, 25 years old. He won $330,000 in 1992, over $400,000 last year. He'll serve it up. Lewis beans it. Conventional wisdom to serve Brian Lewis on the team of Louie.
Well, and also we talked good side, bad side. The weather not as big a factor as it was yesterday, but certainly breezy today. AVP staff doing a great job getting the tournament site ready, but Brian Lewis again nearest the water. Kent Steffes serving at him into the wind as best he can.
Steffes in red, and Steffes chops it down the line. 3-0 our score, early action.
The sideline, the spike by Kent.
As Karch Karai will now serve.
Back to serve.
We might explain how it differs in a single elimination. Obviously, the winner of this particular game goes on and plays in our final. The loser is out.
It's you know, we've dickered around with different formats throughout. Brian Lewis, now 26 years of age, now a tour veteran, and certainly has established himself as one of the very top players on tour. One of the smallest, but certainly can be one of the most intimidating from the service line.
So Steffes gets the ball back for his team. And he'll serve left side, going into the wind. Down the line, ace.
Jump surveys down the line.
Karai and Steffes add really tough jump serving to their repertoire. Could you imagine if they were one of the top serving teams, which they are not? They're a pretty good serving team, but they miss an awful lot. But this one right down the line. Steffes had a similar ace like that against Ricky Luyties last week.
Here's Steffes again, leading 4-0. I don't think Karch and Kent rely on the jump serve as much as the other teams. They don't go for a winner or an ace every time.
It's only when I think that they're struggling with other parts of their game, which is pretty infrequently, that you'll start hearing Karai grunting and groaning, and that's when he's trying to bang the jump serve as hard as he can.
Sky ball there. Steffes cuts it inside the block. 4-0 as Karai will have it. Karch is 33 years old, to be 34 in November. Three-time MVP. He has 2 gold medals. He was voted the best player in the world in 1986 when they didn't even have an award like that. They just made one up and said, hey, you're the best guy.
And it's now called the Karchie. The first time it was ever given, it should have been.
Your attention, please. Jimmy Nichols. Jimmy Nichols.
Brian Lewis to take off. Trailing 4-0. Good strong serve. Steffes has it.
That set is way back.
Chance for a point. Big play here. Lewis. Go! He hit it out. Lewis had the knuckler up there, and he had the right spot. He just missed it.
Pretty good point scoring opportunity. Good set by Ricky Luyties, working hard to get down, set the ball. Ludy just got to find a way to keep that ball in play.
Steffes with the serve. Nice set. Off Karch's hands, out of bounds, goes Brian Lewis. So give Lewis the kill off of Karch.
Ludy already with 4 kills early, and of course he's going to get the majority of the serves. At only 6 feet tall, it's a big challenge for him to have to get the ball past the likes of Kent Steffes, Mike Whitmarsh, Karch Kurai each and every weekend.
Down the hatch goes Kent Steffes.
Ludy's looked confused a couple of times. You know, he's dropped off. He's faking against Kent Steffes, trying to confuse him a little bit in what he's doing with his side-out game, hitting from the right side, and hasn't had much success. I think Luyties can be one of the best blockers out here. He just has to go out and do it. That's a nice swing.
Brian Lewis getting the kill.
Down by Brian Lewis from the left side.
And Lewis will serve. This year he has made $25,000 on hits like this.
Great approach, very fluid, keeps the ball in front of himself, uses his entire body to snap on the ball, but the key is good contact as well as a very, very fast arm swing.
2 wins for Louis, Clearwater, Florida, and Chicago. That was a double contact by Kurai. Lewis and Luyties get a point, but they will be going to the good side. We'll take time out. 7:14 to go in our game. Kurai Steffes lead 4-1. Chris Marlowe, Paul Sunderland back on the beach. The Miller Lite Open in Jacksonville. Semifinal action. Karch Kurai, Kent Steffes, Ricky Luyties, and Brian Lewis. And of course, the fans are jammed in here. First time volleyball site. We're just north of the Comfort Inn, a pretty good spot for volleyball, although the 2 outer courts could not be used yesterday or today.
They were washed away by the high tide and, of course, the extended tide, the wind blowing in off the Atlantic Ocean. But I'll tell you, there were a couple thousand people here yesterday wanting the action to go on, but it was a good decision, I think. The conditions were just impossible.
Karch Kurai and Kent Steffes got off to a very good start. They scored 4 points in a row. Ricky Luyties and Brian Lewis went to the good side. There's an ace. They got a throw on Karch, and that made it 4-1. We switched sides. Lewis gets the ace now. It's 4-2.
This is an impossible serve to pass. Look at that. Kurai thinks his only play is really to let the ball go and hope it sails long. But again, from the good side, into the wind, good top spin. Louis serving the ball hard and deep for the score.
Brian Lewis continues to serve. Both teams undefeated. Winner goes on into our final. Steffes taps it down. So Kent Steffes gets the kill. He was born June 23rd, 1968. In Ann Arbor, Michigan. Been a pro for just 5 years, and look at his wins. 58 career wins, 7th in AVP history. How many with Karch, you ask? 46. 46 with Kurai. Give you those other numbers in a moment. Steffes with a dig. Number 7 digs it up. And he puts it away.
See, Luyties again, where's Ricky Luyties blocking on that play? It's just a quick play that he's got to react to, read immediately. There's no question that Kurai's going to set this ball perfectly. Easy play to make. And why does Ricky Luyties bail out here and go back and play defense? He's got to be up there, assert himself, get ready to block that ball.
So Steffes will serve his other wins. He won 5 with Hovland, 5 with Adam Johnson, 1 with Dan Brabolovich, and 1 with John Stevenson. So that's the mark of a very versatile player. Steffes winning with more than 1 player.
And not an easy thing to do. The great Ron Von Hagen won with. I know you've got this on the tip of your tongue.
16 different partners.
Moving, changing sides, adjusting to different attitudes. 16
different
partners. Yeah,
we
heard you the first time. You could hear you in Sun Valley, Idaho.
Yes. Luyties with the serve. 5-2, Kurai Steffes. And of course, Ron Von Hagen, the oldest player to ever win a volleyball tournament, a major open, at 38 years and 9 months. I confirmed that with him on the telephone this week. And of course, Mike Dodd, if he plays a couple more years, might be able to challenge that record, much to the dismay of Ron Von Hagen. Karch with the serve. It's 5-2. And cutting inside is Brian Lewis. So Luyties and Lewis have settled down, playing smoothly right now.
But they got to find a way to score. The only way they've scored so far is off the good jump serving from Brian Lewis. That's half of the equation. Ricky Luyties has to block some balls and really assert himself as a force against both Kent Steffes and Karch Kurai.
Brian Lewis has only been on the tour for 3 years. You saw how much he has improved as Karch puts it inside. I don't think Karch ever got the most improved player in anything, did he? He was always the best player.
The first year.
Yeah,
kind of.
He came in, he was the best guy. He never got, he got better, but he was always the best. So how do you improve from that? It's like the guy that wins the World Series every year, that manager. He never gets manager of the year, right?
Well, sometimes.
5-2, win. Oh, Steffes has the dig. Karch on 2, yes. So Karchin can't get a point. The Kings of the Beach now lead 6-2.
Just steady and solid, making the plays, scoring when they have the opportunity. Now they've moved over to the bad side. Nothing seems to change. Puts an awful lot of pressure on everybody they play to find a different way to score out here.
22nd sand timeout taken by Ludy. So Karchin can't have moved out to a 4-point lead. Ludy trying to get their act together. Look at Ricky Ludy, 6 career wins, big, strong, powerful. Played with a number of players, most significantly Adam Johnson,
10 seconds.
who he won 3 tournaments with in 1991. The first one on NBC, that was Milwaukee. He also won Cleveland and the U.S. Championships. Wow, who can forget that fabulous tournament back in 1992. And Steffes will serve it up. 22nd timeout over, 6-2. Lewis rejected by Karch.
It's just a matter of time. Lewis is a great hitter on the outside, but Kirai and Steffes both very good blockers in their own right. They change it up, only block when the other is serving, and Karch is right there watching Ludy taking away the line.
Is that what you want to do against Lewis, take away line?
Well, he prefers to hit the ball cross court, but I think the cross court shot is the easier ball to dig. It travels a greater distance. If Karch can seal off Lewis's straight down shot down the line, that gives Kent an awful lot of range to cover in the cross court.
7-2. Luyties and Lewis trailing. This has been the matchup, our last 2 finals, Miami and Clearwater.
Come on, help me.
Karch. And Karch snaps it down. Beautiful play by Steffes to save that pass.
A shank pass by Karch Kirai on kind of a medium jump serve from Ricky Luyties, and Steffes just showing the kind of foot speed that he has getting to the ball. And Karch slicing off a pretty good angle.
Karch with 82 career wins, 3rd on the all-time list. Mike Dodd today, if he makes it into our final, has a chance to tie Ron Von Hagen for 4th on the all-time list. So a lot of jockeying going on. Of course, St. John Smith, the all-time winningest player, at 135, followed by Randy Stoklos at 116. Steffes, 58, and coming on fast. 7-2 semifinal action. Winner goes on to play the winner of our other semifinal, and as soon as we know who that is, we'll give it to you. Play continuing, single elimination today. There was no play on Saturday, so we're jamming it in.
And Jim Mingus doing a pretty good job of moving teams around and looking and trying to fill in the holes.
Doing a very good job
to get things going as fast as he can, and all the players concerned about the pace and how much rest they get. And not hearing too many complaints.
Great set. Steffes with a dig. Karch has got to get it over. He dinks it. Lewis wraps it.
See, that's where Ludy wants to go. That's where his heat is, away from his body, hard cross court. Steffes was there, just could not make the dig. If Karch had touched the ball on the block, this one's got to come. Ricky Luyties, the All-American out of UCLA, sets the ball extremely well, and Steffes just can't get his hands up in time to make the play defensively.
Here's Ricky Luyties, his first career win, 1988 Manhattan, and he pounds it out of bounds.
I talked about Ricky Luyties exerting himself as a blocker, and I don't mean to make it sound easy, because it's not, but he's capable of that, and he's got to expect it of himself that he can be one of the top blockers out here. And if he and his partner Brian Lewis want to have a chance against Kirai and Steffes, he's got to get 3 or 4 stuff blocks a game.
Karch with the serve. It's 7-2, a 5-point lead. A shot chopping right down the line, Brian Lewis.
That's the shot you have to try to take away. It's just so sharp, so quick down the line. You can chop it short down the line as well as go very, very hard down the line as well.
5 tournaments have been played so far. Lewis and Luyties got a 5th in New York, a 7th in Boca Raton, a 7th in Fort Myers, and then really picked it up the last couple of weeks. A 2nd in Miami Beach and a 2nd in Clearwater in that big money tournament last week. Lewis with the dig. Big play here to go to 3. Ludy missed it.
Pretty good chance to score. Ricky Luyties working his way off the net. Good bump set, spinning it up with the wind into good position.
About as good a set as you'll get on a play like that.
Yeah, it was fine. This was a fine set. Good dig by Brian Lewis. The play on for Luyties to take the cross court. You know, he's within 4 or 5 feet, certainly striking range to score.
Sand timeout taken by Ricky Luyties. We'll take a quick sand timeout. We're coming back. 7-2. Kirai and Steffes lead. Steffes leading Ricky Luyties and Brian Lewis. And Lewis buries one cross court.
See, when Steffes is determined that he's going to dig the cross court angle from Brian Lewis, he's got to come down farther down the angle. He's not going to get to the line shot at all. There's no sense in cheating that way. Come on down and dig the ball that Ludy likes to hammer.
Ricky Luyties with the serve. And Steffes hits it in the bottom of the net.
That was a bad set, though, I think. The wind is coming off the ocean. Kirai's got to push that set out farther to keep it in Steffes' hitting zone. That ball died a little bit inside on Karch, and Kent just couldn't stay with it. Got to keep the ball in play, though.
Ludy's trying to work on Steffes. And Steffes chops inside. That's not a shot that Steffes is known for, that sharp cross-court cut. If he gets that in, he is very, very tough.
I think if I'm serving Steffes, when he's on the good side and the sets are going into the wind, if I'm Brian Lewis, I got to cheat mostly into the cross-court because that set's dying way inside.
Ball touched the net on that serve, so Ludy will get the ball back. Now Brian Lewis, who saw his first volleyball at the 1984 Olympic Games. He saw the gold medal match between the United States and Brazil, and the player he admired most was Pat Powers, who he eventually ended up playing with and winning his first tournament.
And that was a big win indeed, also in the state of Florida.
In Clearwater, 1991. So Brian Lewis has really made a name for himself on the AVP Tour. 8-3 is our score. Karai Steffes by 5. Try Ricky Luyties one time. I tell you, I really like the way Brian Lewis sets the ball. He sets it off the net, but he sets it straight up and down. Comes out perfectly.
He's got great hands and trajectory and altitude. It's so important that they're consistent. After you pass the ball, you can just take such a solid approach at the ball.
Back working on Steffes. And Steffes, there's the shot again. That shot is open virtually all the time. Cross-court cut.
And why is it so wide open? Of course, because after Karch sets the ball, he sees that Brian Lewis is camped down the line, so he just says, hey, partner, cut shot. Yeah. And Steffes is just listening to him and cutting into the open court. I think Brian Lewis, especially when serving to Steffes, maybe play a little more center field and try to read off the call of Karch Kirai.
Karch has the dig. Steffes back to Lewis. Karch has the dig again, looking for 9. And Karch, oh, he dinked it out of bounds. Perfect set, and Karch missed it. So Lewis Luyties get a much-needed break. 4:59 to go in this one.
Boy, the shot here is wide open. Good read by Kirai, making some guesses. Steffes just keeps the ball in play here. And then look at this. Brian Lewis wondering, where in the world do I have to go to play defense? Cuts into the angle. Karch, with the right selection, just missed it.
Steffes taps it out of bounds. Ludy coming on now on the bad side, Paul. They pulled it within 4, 8-4.
And Ludy, I think, needs to get a little more active defensively, not be so predictable, just going to one side automatically. Play a little more center field, try to disrupt Kent Steffes' approach, make him not quite sure what the open area of the court is. He's faking now. You see Brian Lewis fake there? Playing defense, faking left to right.
I don't think that's bad strategy, though, to fake a little, but I give Steffes that cut shot because he's bound to hit one in the bottom of the net or maybe drool one out of bounds. That is not his favorite shot.
Well, I agree with you, except I think that Ludy and Luyties have to make this a shorter game. They're not siding out consistently well enough to wait for that ball that Steffes is going to hit to you down the line.
All right.
And then score off of that. I think they need to take some more chances, make things happen, because they miss a pass like that, and all of a sudden the lead stretches out even more. If they were siding out extremely well, I'd say all well and fine, but here's just a shank pass. Ludy just trying to keep the ball in play. I'm not sure that it cleared, but Karch is all over it anyway.
You know, you are a very good analyst. Nicely done.
It's the first nice thing you've said to me in 10 years.
Okay, I got to take a timeout after that. 9-4. Karai and Steffes lead by 5. I was just kidding, by the way. It's been all Karai Steffes. Lewis Luyties got off to a slow start. Karai and Steffes jumped out 4-1 and have never really looked back. Jacksonville semifinal.
Cut!
Oh. Karch is really getting over the net. Beautiful blocking by Karai.
The one-day format, condensed edition, does not seem to have bothered the jumping ability of Karch Kirai. Brian Lewis trying to hit the ball wherever he can to get the ball past Karch, and Kurai at only 6'3", still a very, very solid blocker.
On-time delivery for Karch. 4:39 to play. 11-4.
Victory over Mike Whitmarsh and Mike Dodd.
Played very well. Here's Steffes. And Steffes puts it away.
Cannot solve Kent Steffes right now. The cut shot is there. No block that time. Hit the ball virtually anywhere he wants to.
And the ball right through the hands of Luyties. It's hot. And perhaps the sweat got him right there as the ball slid through.
Yesterday, the temperature in the probably 50s, 60s at best, and when we were unable to play, not because of the temperature, but because of the wind conditions.
You know, there is a certain chill in the air today, though. It's windy, and it's coming off the water. It's hot for the players down on the court, I think.
Well, they're enclosed a little bit on the stadium, and we've talked about that an awful lot. If the air temperature is, let's say, 85, it's usually about 8 to 10 degrees hotter right on center court, where there's not the wind getting to it through the spectators and through the grandstands. And significantly warmer today, obviously.
13-4 is our score. Brian Lewis serving. Up on top of Louie. Good serve, ace. A little different approach by Louie that time.
Moving it around a little bit. Little spin toss. Spinning the ball. Look at it. Spinning the ball sideways and then hitting back across it. And Karch just really never moved his feet to get in front of the ball. A little late communication there, and Kent Steffes, pretty good effort to try to get to it, but Karch passed the ball extremely well the last couple of weeks, and that one he missed.
So Kurai and Steffes will have the ball. Kent to serve. And chopping inside is Lewis. The cut shot back the other way. 3:47 to play. 13-5 lead, Kurai Steffes. Here's Luyties. Ace. Once again, the husband and wife area. That's where Kurai and Steffes are weak.
Are very susceptible to this play. You think as well as they do in virtually every other facet of the game, they are more susceptible. They are victimized more often by that play than any other team on tour.
And I think the one reason why Kurai is married and a couple of kids, and Kent is a bachelor.
They speak a different language? I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Communication gap.
Steffes jams it deep corner. Good shot.
I asked Karch about why he thinks they have so many problems with that particular play, and he really didn't seem to have an answer. And you watch Karch as the ball is being served, he takes a couple of big steps way up into the court. It really shortens, I think, his view of the ball coming cross court at it.
Here goes Luyties, and Ludy snaps it down. You need a counselor to straighten that out between Kurai and Steffes.
Well, I don't think with the amount of winning they've been doing the last 3 years or so, they're too worried about it. I figure they can, if that can be their only weakness and still win the way they have on a percentage basis, not too many problems.
Karch with the pass.
Cut! Come on.
Oh, what a spectacular cover by Kurai.
I'm not sure anybody else makes that play on a regular basis. He just makes that particular reaction play, always thinking one step ahead. Watch the block and the cover here. Crummy set. There's the block. Look how low it was.
What's he doing down there?
You know, Luyties thought, all right, finally, get Sunderland off my back. I had a stuff block, and Kurai reaches down and stabs it.
Do the players get mad at you when you criticize their techniques?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, you know, do you like to be criticized? You know, I don't think anybody likes it, but
don't remember getting it.
You just never heard it. There was so much of it, it all sounded the same.
Steffes gently taps it down the line. Steffes got that line shot perfect. When he can get the cut in, it makes it doubly tough.
Well, Brian Lewis, again, just not sure where to go and having their own problems siding out. This has been a very, quite frankly, ho-hum semifinal, a little bit like the final last week in Clearwater Beach, where Kurai and Steffes were just flawless.
Yeah, it has been ho-hum. That's a good way to put it. 13-6, 7-point lead for Steffes. Winner of this one plays the winner of Tanner Vrbolovich, Stoklos Johnson. Hope to show you a little of that match somewhere during our coverage, depending on timings, etc. Karch, Luyties was there. Nice play by Ludy. Take that, Sunderland.
Boy, did he get over the net that time. I just have a lot of respect for Ricky's game and think he can do a better job of blocking, and I know his team certainly needs it.
13-7 when we come back. Guys, today, what are they going to do when they get out of Florida? And what a majority of the players, Paul, come from California, and it's a it's a heck of a 5-hour trip down and a 5-hour trip back. Hour in the rental car, etc., etc.
3-hour time chase.
But it's worth the chase. I mean, the trip. Don't you think?
You were tongue-tied. It usually is indeed.
Volleyball, very, very popular in Florida. One of the growing spots in the United States for beach volleyball players. We saw a couple play in the tournament this week. They didn't make it into our show, of course.
And years ago, I'm probably dating myself, Jacksonville University had a pretty good basketball team.
That's right.
You can name their starting lineup. I'll give you bonus points.
All right. How about Artis Gilmore, Pembroke Burrows, Larry Finch, Batman and Robin, the other two guys?
Batman and Robin were Rex Morgan.
Yeah, that guy. 3:06 to play in this one. Ryan Steffes up by 6. Lewis and Luyties trying to hang on here. They've been playing a little better, but every time you think they're getting a little momentum, an error leads to a block.
Make a mistake, shank a pass, point. Ricky Ludy set that ball just 6 inches too close. Look at this. The ball's just set too close for Brian Lewis, and this is where his height is really a disadvantage. He can't get up there and push the ball into Steffes and or Kirai in that case and create a joust or a jump ball, and he just really loses out when the ball's set too tight.
Timeout taken by Lewis and Luyties, their final regular timeout. So Karch and Kent set to move on and try to win their 5th out of 6. Of course, Karch and Kent, the #1 seeded team on tour, followed by Dodd, Whitmarsh, Johnson, and Stoklos. Those two teams are pretty close. Lewis and Luyties are in 4th, and the Brazilian team, Basile and Loyola, and Gino Loyola, if you like, in 5th. They lost a heartbreaker to Lewis and Luyties on the off-court in the quarterfinals, so the Brazilians are playing well again.
Tim Hovland, I was talking to him earlier in the day, and he said, you know, I'm 8th seed with Eric Fenoy Moana, and that's okay. That's okay, but it means I got to play Kirai and Steffes every week in the quarterfinals. And Hov talking about his points and was hoping to do well here and move up into that 7th position and not have to play Kirai and Steffes each and every week.
Brian Lewis, Ricky Luyties down to their last point, 14-7, as Steffes looking for the ace winner. Luyties is off the net, dink. Here comes Steffes. And he cuts, he's got it. So Kent Steffes got the get. Kirai with the set, and Steffes putting it away. And one semifinal is over. Kirai and Steffes victorious against Brian Lewis and Ricky Luyties, 15-7. Sunday's on the way down to the beach to talk to the Kings. When we come back, stay with us.
Johnson, Stoklos, Tanner Vrbolovich. Johnson, Stoklos.